Hi and welcome to John's Maths Book. In this video we're going to be looking at graphing the tangent function. If you like the video then please hit the like button and I'd be delighted and honoured if you'd subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, let's go over to the whiteboard. If we look at our unit circle, as you can see we have the coordinates of cosine and sine as plotted around the circle. The cosine coordinate is the x coordinate and the sine coordinate is the y coordinate. So let's take our angle of 30 degrees and draw a small triangle within the unit circle. As you can see, this is a 90-degree triangle. So we have a hypotenuse of 1, an opposite side, which is the y-coordinate of a half, and we have an adjacent side, which is the x-coordinate of square root of 3 over 2. So we know that sine of an angle is equal to the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. So in this case, the opposite side is a half, and the hypotenuse is 1. So the sine of the angle is a half, as shown in the coordinates. Similarly with cosine, it's adjacent over hypotenuse, which is equal to root 3 over 2 divided by 1, which is root 3 over 2, again as shown in the coordinate. Now for tangent, that is equal to opposite over the adjacent side, which is equal to, so the opposite side is equal to a half, and the adjacent side is equal to square root of 3 over 2. And when we divide that into a half, we multiply by 2 over 3, root 3. So that is equal to 1 divided by square root of 3. So as we can see, when we're going through this exercise, the tan of an angle, so let's say the tan of theta, is equal to the sine of theta divided by the cosine of theta. As we saw in our example, where we've taken the angle of 30 degrees, we know that the sine of theta is a half, and the cosine of theta is root 3 over 2. So if we divide root 3 over 2 into a half, we multiply by 2 over root 3, we get 1 divided by square root of 3, which is in fact the tangent of theta. Now we know that the value of tan theta is equal to sine theta divided by cos theta. Let's use the unit circle and create a table of values of tan theta. So let's start at 0 on the unit circle, which is here. And as we can see, sine of theta is 0 and the cos of theta is 1. So the tangent of theta is 0 divided by 1, which is equal to 0. Now let's look at the angle pi on the unit circle, and we get to this point here. We can see that tan theta is equal to sine theta divided by cos theta, which is equal to, now sine at that point, sine of theta is 0, and cos of theta is minus 1. That equals 0 again. If we look at the angle 2 pi, which is again here, when we've come around the circle once, we see that tan theta is equal to sine theta divided by cosine theta, which is equal to 0 divided by 1, which is equal to 0. Now let's look at 90 degrees. This is where it gets a little bit more interesting. So 90 degrees on the unit circle is here. And as we can see, the sine of 90 degrees is 1 and the cosine of 90 degrees is 0. The tan of theta in this case, again, sine theta divided by cosine theta is equal to sine of theta is 1 and the cosine of theta is 0. Now this is undefined. As we can see, it tends towards infinity. So if we go to a value of theta of 3 pi by 2 radians, which is here, we look at tan theta, which is equal to sine theta over cosine theta. Sine theta at this point is minus 1 and cosine theta is 0. Again, this is undefined. So if we look at theta is minus pi by 2, which is minus 90 degrees. So if we head around the circle in a clockwise direction this way, we get here, and this is minus pi by 2. Tan theta is equal to sine theta divided by cosine theta. So sine theta is minus 1 and cosine theta is 0. Again, undefined. Now let's look at the angle 5 pi by 2 radians. So that's 2.5 pi, or once round the circle and then another 90 degrees. So that's 450 degrees. Tan theta equal to sine theta divided by cosine theta, which is equal to, so at this point here, we have 5 pi by 2 radians. So we can see that the sine of theta is 1 and the cosine of theta is 0. Again, it's undefined. As we saw in an earlier video, the range of sine and cosine is from -1 to 1. Tangent is different to sine and cosine. As we've seen, as cosine tends towards 0, tangent tends towards negative and positive infinity. When cosine equals 0, tangent is undefined. If we now plot the graph of y is equal to tan theta, we see that the graph is a series of vertical asymptotes. The period of the tangent function is pi, so that is where the graph starts to repeat itself. If we take a y value here and follow the x-axis, we see that it starts to repeat itself here. Or if we start at 0, it repeats itself at pi. When we looked at graphing the sine and cosine functions, we also looked at the transformations of these functions. The same transformations can be applied in the same way to the tangent function.